Welcome back to Punchlines. We're continuing our end of year show, and I'm joined today by Mr. Carlos Adams, the name and owner of Adams Boxing, who we are proud to be partnered with this show. What's up, bro? You ready to do this?
Yes, I'm ready.
It's been a big year for Adams. Your boots have been on the main event of several fights this year, and there's been pretty cool pay-per-views, big fights on Showtime, ESPN, Fox, DAZN, literally all of them. You want to just do a wrap up of what's gone on for the company and where you're heading for 2023?
Yeah, so this year we had our best year to date. Like you mentioned, we were on so many cards, so many big fights, even fights that we had no idea about in different countries. People were using the boots now. We were getting tagged from fights happening in Africa, fights in places of Asia like Thailand, Taiwan. People in China were debuting Adams out there, starting to really push the brand. So in general, for branding, this year was monstrous. I was able to trademark my branding in 38 countries, um, and and we opened so many distribution contracts this year as well to 8 different countries. So in all, the brand is growing in the field of boxing. We also released the boxing trainer this year that a lot of people liked. It's a boxing boot that's not like your normal boxing boot. It's a boxing boot that has a trainer sole. I actually have one right here on me. I can
And
show you.
behind you.
Yes, there's a trainer with the trainer sole.
And
Kind of
that's a
like,
2.1.
yep. So this trainer sole is kind of like if you were to take the old school free runs from 2011, 2012 and put it on a boxing boot, making it weightless as well. Which I think is super cool. A lot of people like the concept of a boxing boot that has this type of sole where you can actually do more than just wear them for the ring. I have people that were wearing them just to go to the store. It's just it's been a great year for the brand in shoes. We're also releasing now the Adam Skate shoes, and we're pushing into clothing. So clothing early next year, we're gonna start with the amateur boxing. So I think this year really kind of like cemented Adams into boxing because now there's a prestige to the brand where people know the brand. Before I would introduce myself and introduce what I'm doing, and now I introduce myself as the guy who makes the shoes that guy's wearing. I start pointing like he's wearing them right now, So like,
Yeah.
um, there's that, and I'm very excited for the next project we have going. Our next project, and we are gonna fully pledge to this. We're making the fight gloves, the Adams Pro fight gloves. Um, the first guys we're working with, we have quite a few guys, but one of those guys is Emmy, from the Vargas Dynasty. We're gonna be working with Emmy and some other fighters as well, like Mungia, to develop a fight glove that would be balanced in a way where most fighters will enjoy the comfort, the protection, and the feel to the glove. That's the goal.
So a competition glove, not just the training gloves?
Yes, we are gonna make training gloves, but competition gloves, we're planning on making two styles. The first style will be the horsehair style. We might do something different than horsehair. We're still looking. Something very similar. Um, and then on the other hand, we're gonna have the foam style.
Right.
So one will be kind of like winning for hand protection, and the other one will be kind of like raise for KO.
Right.
No, we're looking into those.
Have you ever thought about doing like a hybrid, kind of like Everlast did for Wilder in this the last Fury fight? It was like a mixture of like foam and horsehair.
Yeah, like I said, we might not use horsehair. We're gonna see something, so it will be a hybrid, but we'll see what works because the main thing here is providing a glove that feels not like a glove, but like an extension of your hand, and that will protect your hand. Because honestly, once your hand breaks, and you start having hand problems, that's it for hands for KOs. Like you can't really press for a KO because your hand's always on your head, and in the back of your mind is always like my hands are
Yeah.
fragile now. Yeah, so that's what we're gonna be aiming for a hand protective glove, and we're gonna be doing pack how would you say, like packs, like okay, you get the custom shoes with the custom gloves, you know. We'll be
Right.
offering that service as well. And well, that's on the glove aspect, right? But like I was saying, this year has been huge. We're a part of so many projects, we're part of so many collaborations, we're part of so many TV fights. World champions have chosen us over other companies, you know, not because we didn't pay anyone, you know. Every fighter that's worn the shoes have worn it because one, they like it, or two, um, my friendship relationship that I have with them. So either or has been the case, but at the end of it, no fighter's gonna wear something that they don't like. So
Right.
yeah, and I'm very excited for next year because next year in January is gonna be the release of the Undisputed boxing game. Um, and that game, supposedly they're saying that the release is the 28th January in the UK, and I will be there for
Hell
the
yeah.
release. Yeah, I've never left North America, and I was told I should be there for the history of this collaboration. Um, Something that people don't know is that the owners of the video game have partnered up with me and Adams in the company itself. So it's more than just a game collaboration for me. These are my partners, so it's something bigger than that. And I'm excited for the Creed movie in March. It got pushed back to March. We'll see the Adam shoes in the big screen with Jose Benavides wearing them. He did me a solid. He told the people from Creed that he only wore Adam's boots, and that he would like to wear Adams for the movie. And I think that was really cool.
That's sick.
I've been calling and texting him, you know, but he's been too busy for me. But he did me a solid hard. Um,
Yeah. I mean, and he wore them against Danny Garcia too.
oh, true. He actually debuted the Trainer 2.0. He was the first person to wear them, and then Andy Reese was the second person to wear them before they came out.
That's sick. That's really cool. And you also released the woman's boot as well this year,
No, Coach Cam, we've been working on the woman model that we're gonna be releasing soon.
right?
I just finished the prototype this year, but I'm hoping that next year by May to have its first big release in May. But right now we're still developing, you know. I still have to get her the samples, make sure she likes them, do some changes, whether they will be, and then go from there. So back to 2023. What I'm really excited for is in February we're gonna launch the V5, the Pro Boot. We only have one color this year, but we're gonna launch six new colorways for the V5. And the V trainers, we're gonna have seven new colorways. And the Max trainer, which is something that we created this year that had never been done before. Uh, Let me find you a sample. Okay, I got one right here.
And the V5, that's the one that's similar to like what the Hyper KO is and
Yep,
Box Hop.
I got you this. So this is the Max trainer. This creation is something that I thought would never be a hit in boxing. Never. I was like, no way people will want to wear this in boxing. Look at this.
Yeah.
It's a monstrous sole um shoe, right? But the feedback, these sold out in the bigger sizes from size 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 and up. They sold out, and people have been messaging me and emailing the warehouse asking when these will be back. They're asking for restock on these, and I was like, really? Like, this was really hit, and it did. I can't believe like people actually enjoyed this. To me, it was a masterpiece, right? I was like, this is amazing. I even made its own little tags.
Yeah. Like
Like,
Timberland and shit.
yeah, I gave it like a little bit more to it, right? And people just love them. So I was like, wow, okay. So we
No,
have
you
4 new colorways coming.
you got
For
the bowl, the red and black. You got the Moonwalker, the white and black with the American flag on it, and then you got the '90s retro, which is like neon, like pink and yellow and stuff.
yeah, and then I made a rainbow one.
Oh, the one you were showing me, like the tie dye,
Yeah,
the paint
a tie
splat.
dye one.
Yeah.
So that one's gonna be interesting. See how that one works out. But I was just trying to be different because if you go on any boxing shoe website, you're gonna see black shoes, gray or white, blue, red, and very
Neon.
rarely you'll see, yeah,
Like
neon too. But very rarely you'll see any color out of those, you know? And what we've done in Atoms, which I think is a huge thing, is we're pushing to have so many colorways that the fighter can find what represents them more than just a black and white shoe. So
yeah.
we're pushing more for that. But next year we're gonna have big releases for shoes, for colorways, a new model, the boxing gloves, and we're gonna be more of a mainstream brand, especially being part of such a big video game coming out. We're gonna be the main brand in the video game. Um, for boxing, there hasn't been a game in almost 12 years, so this is huge. I'm actually gonna be in the game as well. They're gonna scan me in the game on January.
As like a playable character.
I think so.
Dude, I'm gonna PC the fuck up on that.
I think they asked me, they're like, hey man, we can make you a promoter, we can make you a trainer. And I'm like, I want to be a fighter and I want to be a bad like one of the bad guys in the story mode. I don't even know if they
Uh,
have a story mode. I just said that, but um
I want to be a sketchy guy that tries selling all the fighters steroids.
but you know, they told me that to get scanned to the game actually has a price. And I mean, I'm lucky I don't have to pay the price, but it's not as cheap as you would think. Um, it's not like they just make you on a 3D model because that would take, I guess, too long. So now they just virtually scan you in this machine that just scans you completely, and they put you in the game. After that, they can do some editing work, but that's it. You know?
Yeah, I wouldn't know any of that shit. Like I don't.
Yeah, me either. It's just, but I told you is all I know as well.
Yeah, that's basically all I can take. If you told me the whole thing, that's all I would take from it.
Yeah.
I don't understand any of the technology shit.
And also this year was the first time we actually signed ambassadors to the brand. Um, I don't want to leave out anyone out, so I'll just run it real quick. We have Fernando Vargas Jr., Amaro Vargas, and Emmy Vargas as our first signed fighters. Uh, which means that they represent Adams. They're fighters that represent Adams, and they're proud to do so as well. It was something we wanted, they wanted, and we got it done. Then after the Vargas, we signed Johan Alvarez. He's known as Canelo's nephew, but he can fight. He has a very good style. He's trained by Chepo, who trained Canelo as well. So they got a good style, you know. And since my computer is sorry, man. Since my computer's dying, but it's plugged in. Anyways, we signed Coach Cam as the first female ambassador with Brandon Adams. They came together as a package, which is cool. Brandon is a contender fighter at his weight division. I heard he's fighting in February. I'm not sure against who yet, but there's a fight being made there. And then we also signed a couple kids. You know, we signed Yaretsi, a 13-year-old girl, um, who trains alongside people like Sainz Estrada and has support from Andy Reese.
Yeah.
But we also signed Kermel Moden, a guy from Vegas. He's 16. He went undefeated this year in the amateurs. He's 18 time, right? 18.
18 time, yeah.
Yeah, this guy does not lose. He's a champ, you know. Young
Yeah.
age champ. He's a nice kid too. He's cool.
Signed to the money team.
Yeah, that kid, I believe he'll be a better version of Tank. And Tank is a beast, so imagine that. But we'll
Yeah.
see. We'll see what happens. So I do believe that kid has a huge ceiling.
I gotta send you a video of him too. My friend Joey, Tito's nephew, he's friends with him because they used to travel together in the amateurs. But he sent me a video the other day after the interview of one of his fights, and then Carmel, who was like 6 or 7, like him at 6 or 7 looks like Tank now, but like
Yeah,
he's
he's a beast.
but he's like standing on the side of the ring, like just yelling like a little kid, like talking shit for Joey. But it's funny. I'll send it to you.
Okay. Uh, we also signed uh from the kids. I signed these 3 kids from Mexico. Uh, a guy named Luis Salas, who's 19, 5-0 world. I mean, sorry, 5-0 professional. Freddy Salas. I think he has an amateur record of 10-4, 10-3. But that kid, he has a bright future. And Ilian Salas, who's the youngest brother from the 3. And of course, you know, I'm not gonna leave him out. They're a group, so I got
Yeah.
him in there as well. He has a lot to work on, but he has years. We'll see what he can do. And then after that, we signed. Recently we signed Jaime Munguia and WBC back to back. One
Hell
day
yeah.
WBC, the next day Jaime Munguia. WBC has not been announced yet, but we're gonna be doing collaboration efforts with them to make merchandise and products, you know, together. And there's a couple more. For
Powell,
example,
Powell.
yeah. Oh, Paola Macias from Cancun is another girl we signed. She's an up and coming professional fighter. She's known for being what people call one of the prettiest girls in boxing. That's what she's known for. But she's really she's a really nice person. She really reps the brand. She's a great brand ambassador. She goes far beyond what anyone would do for you.
It's like
She's
every post she has Adams on. Every single
Yeah,
post.
I think it's really cool. She'll even wear him in interviews on TV, like just casual.
Yeah, on like actual news like she went on it like Good Morning Mexico or something like and was wearing Adams.
Yeah, she's her manager Miguel are really nice guys. So that was cool. And then we signed Shane. Signed this
So
guy right here. We signed him to a cool project collaboration efforts to combine forces, and we do have some cool plans for Shane for you.
hell
You
yeah.
know, it's everything's in the works. And lastly, I think there's one more contract signing we did that I'm not.
Chavez.
Of course, the legend. We signed Julio Cesar Chavez, the legend. There's so many that I just all over the
Yeah.
place. Yeah, we signed Chavez, the legend, to a massive deal in Mexico, and I can't really talk much about that deal, but that deal is going to be massive, huge. It's going to be part of the history of Adams. It's for the legacy of Adams and Chavez. Like we have some cool stuff coming up, and I'm very excited for that as well. But I mean, all that plus the video game, plus the Creed movie, plus 8 distribution contracts for the year. Like the year was massive for us. The volume was huge. Um, we've never had a year this strong. Uh, the Black Friday we had was massive, next level. It took us like a week to get packages out from so many packages that came in. It just 3 days span. It was crazy. We have projects next year for Vegas. It's in the talks for our new warehouse in Vegas, and all operations are now going to be in Las Vegas. So I'm excited for that one. Maybe in September next year, but we'll see. And going on forward, we're gonna start moving operations to Vegas. Maybe another project that's been talked about is having a little studio in Vegas. Basically, it's a warehouse with offices on top, rooms, and one would be cool to create into the studio, for these type of interviews. But now
Right.
more in person, more in person. There's guys that do that in Vegas,
Yeah, the boxing voice does it.
Yeah, exactly. So we can do the same, it's not a competition with anyone, it's just for the community. So I'm
Yeah.
excited.
Any content in boxing is spreading awareness about, it's just making boxing better. It doesn't mean you're missing out. I hate that mindset. But yeah, it's been a sick year too, because like we said, we saw, I mean, just the main events, Fortuna versus Garcia. Fortuna wore custom boots. Andy Ruiz versus Luis Ortiz. Andy Ruiz wore Adams boots. Magsayo and Brandon Figueroa both wore Adams in back-to-back fights on a Showtime card. Regis and Chon wore Adams against each other. Like, out of all the custom boots you made this year, like, what one was your favorite that you got to make?
My favorite ones were the Chon Cepeda boots, because those boots were a masterpiece. I don't have pictures on me, but those boots were amazing. Uh, that fight, to me, I was there ringside, literally like probably like 8 feet from the ring itself. I was there, and even though I was there, I didn't want to see it. It was two guys that I like. I was a little biased more on Chon because of our history, so of
Right.
course I was rooting for him. I even had the freaking Chon tracksuit. You know,
Yeah.
I was all for him, and um, I feel that it was a good fight. I love that fight for what it was, because the moments, the roller coaster moments, were crazy. People cheering. It was crazy. The atmosphere was crazy, and I didn't like the ending of the fight. I felt like it could have ended differently, especially because when Chong stumbled, his arm got caught on the ropes.
Yeah.
So I was there watching, and I could see Chong struggling to move away, and he got stuck, pulled back by the ropes, and into more punches. So, in my opinion, it wasn't like a straight KO where the guy went for the KO and got it. It was kind of like he went for it, and the circumstances, that the bad luck that Chong got cut up and brought back in, walked to the punch. I didn't like the ending. I'm happy for Regis, of course, and I'm happy to keep working with him. But I didn't like how Chong went out, especially because of the way I was there live and I saw his arm get caught. So I was like, man, that sucks.
Yeah. And that's not Regis's fault by any means.
No, of course not. Of course
Yeah.
not. It's just, I mean, it's part of the game. It's part of the game. Like, anyone at any time can trip, dislocate something. That's happened to Tron as well. Like, point being, once you're in the ring, anything can happen. So there's no rewind button. It happens and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was a great fight. That was a great card too, because you had two of the Vargas brothers wear your boots on there as well. The Emmy boots I thought were, or not well, Emmy's boots were sick. The white ones with like the silver logo and stuff.
Yeah, that was cool.
But Junior's boots, the white ones with the maroon, those were my favorite ones all year.
Oh man. So those are the model. That's the model that we made for the Creed movie. And I was messaging Junior and I was like, hey man, you know what you want yet? He's like, no, not yet, not yet. And I was like, okay, bro, please trust me on this one. Please wear these boots. Please. He took the offer and he wore them. And after he wore them, he told me, bro, those boots were made for me. I'm like, I know. I was telling you, like,
Yeah.
please wear them.
Because they're not an O model and they're not a V model. What are they going to be? Are you going to come out with a line of those?
I'm not, but they do have a model name. They're called the B1 for Benavides because, of
Okay.
course, he brought me into the movie, so I named that model after him. He doesn't know this yet. I've been trying to call him, tell him for like half a year, but I don't know. Anyways, overall, it's just the best year Adams ever had, and it's set up for next year already. And going forward, the brand's gonna be another level. I feel like where we were 2021, we're 10 times bigger now, and next year we're gonna be 10 times bigger again. So I feel like we're gonna keep expanding. Uh, there have been in the industry, because I'm part now of this industry of consumer goods for boxing. There has been talk that Adidas does have us on their radar as a up and coming brand. So you never know, maybe they might offer to buy us out, which of course will decline, but it's just part of the history of Adams as it grows. We do plan to keep pushing, keep growing, and we plan to one day be able to compete with Nike and Adidas on the consumer level when it comes to goods, footwear in all sports, and just in general. That's the main goal of the brand. The brand is now 7 years old, and it will continue to keep growing.
Hell yeah.
This year though, I do want to thank the team. We have so many people now using their time and energy to help the brand grow, and most importantly, I want to thank Jose de la Cruz and my father as well, Ash Habib from the game Undisputed, and yeah, I mean that's a wrap for 2022 and going to 2023. I'm just excited.
Yeah, and I think before we move on to like our personal picks for like fight of the year and stuff, like anyone watching this, if you're new to the show or if you're unfamiliar with like who I am, so Carlos and I actually have the same old boxing coach Sergio Melendrez. We just trained there at two different times. That's how he and I actually became you and I became acquainted, was because we were both trained by Coach Sergio. And we just lost him, unfortunately, just a few weeks ago. It was a sad moment. So I don't think we could do this end of year podcast without saying, rest in peace to Coach Sergio.
Yeah, I do remember it was right after the Chon Cepeda fight.
Yeah, it was that same night.
Yeah, I got to the hotel and then Shane. It was late. It was like 1 in the morning. For you, I think it was like 3 or 2.
I was an hour ahead because you were in Cali. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and then he sent me a message saying that our coach had passed away. And what sucks is that we actually had him as a guest for our podcast coming up, and I was literally that week he was on my mind. I was like, I should reach out. I should reach out to get him on the podcast. But I was busy with the fight week for Cepeda, so I didn't, and I was gonna do it after the fight week. And yeah, unfortunately, he passed away. We don't know reasons, but I did go to his one of his memorial services, and I saw everyone from back in the past. All the guys there from what was the gym called on Third?
Alliance.
Alliance MMA. There's a lot of guys from there. It was cool catching up and
LBK.
sharing stories with uh about Coach. What was interesting though, the new kids that were with him now in the new gym he was in, they were sharing stories about him. And these kids were young. They were like 15, 16, 17-year-old kids. And they were sharing like cool stories about him. And it kind of like their stories gave me flashback to when I was like 16, 17 and I was with him. And it was just cool to see that the person I knew was still the same person.
Yeah.
He never had changed. He was always the same person. So I know that if I would have showed up to the gym and he was still alive, he would probably still cuss me out and everything because we we didn't really end up on the right foot. But yet again, he's a cool guy. We would have worked it out.
Yeah, of course. But yeah, he would have cussed you out.
Yeah.
He cussed me. I remember I took like like a month off one time, and I came back and he cussed me out, made me spar right away. But
Yeah.
yeah,
It sounds like him. Like that's just him. But that's cool. Um, I I did get numbers from them at the gym, and I'm actually gonna make. I have a model called the M1. I have it right here. Give me a second. So it's called the M1. It's a prototype still. We still haven't had it finished. It was called the M1, right? And now I'm gonna rename it to the M1, but now is Melendres will be the Melendres one. So to honor him, I'm gonna make this the M1.
Hell yeah. And I think that one's gonna be. I think that's gonna be a popular boot as well because like a lot of people are wearing the
Asics,
yeah.
Nikes, like Davis wears a Nike that's kind of like an Asics style.
Hmm.
So some people that box, they like that narrow style shoe. So it's gonna be a cool hit as well.
Right.
But yeah,
But so do you want to move into 2022 for the whole side of boxing now?
yeah. So me and Shane, we thought it'd be cool this year to end the year as a podcast. You know, giving an overview of the year for Adams itself. Because Adams and Punchlines, we have about going on to 3 months together,
Yeah.
3 months together, collaborating, and we're gonna continue collaborating. And my goal in Adams is to help Shane get to his goal. So, and vice versa. So I'm excited just to be with you, man.
Hell
Shane's a
yeah.
really hard worker. Um, he works above and beyond. There's people that want him for his editing, which I think is funny because he didn't go to editing school. He just figured it out himself, and anyone can figure it out. But to figure it out, you have to have that passion that Shane has. So
Yeah, that I love making those videos. They're not easy, but it was fun.
exactly.
This year's been crazy because in I didn't even bring the podcast back until like April, and then in May when I got that interview with Mario Barrios and I made that video, and a lot of people started noticing me. Then I didn't make one for a long time. I just stopped making videos, and then when we got the Chone interview and I made the video for Chone versus Progray, it got me back into the groove of it. And then I got the interview with Tony Harrison and he liked it so much he posted it his damn self to call out Charlo for the third fight. So I'm really glad where I'm at now. So I'm
Though
hoping, yeah, I'm hoping to get interviews with some more fighters who hopefully making more videos, just good interviews, good content for the sport this year. But I'm really excited for 2023. I hope I can take a step up and become an even better platform for myself and for Adams and just the sport in general. That's all I want to do is just make the sport better. So I'm really looking forward to it. But yeah, people are really trying to come for me hard just to make videos and stuff. It's like, man, I do a lot more than just that, bro. So
exactly. There's more to it, and yeah, like you said, this isn't just a hobby. You're giving back to the community of boxing. You know, we're giving a platform to fighters, trainers, anyone involved with boxing to talk about their side of boxing, their plans, their goals. So I think it's really cool what we're doing. And I couldn't have picked anyone else better than you for a podcast. So I think this is dope.
hell yeah, just Joe Rogan, that's it. But I'm coming for him too.
Yeah.
Uh, I need to start fucking stabbing elk or whatever the fuck it is he does. But for let's just talk about boxing. Let's get to our awards here. Well, not awards, just personal picks. It's not like we have trophies and shit, but um we were talking about it before. There just you in general, your boots have been on in a lot of big fights this year. And out of all the fights this year, not just with your boots involved, but what's been your favorite fight of the year so far?
So my fight of the year, of course, I'll probably be the only one in the world that picks this as fight of the year, is Tron versus Regis. The reason I pick it is because it's the first time two fighters were Adams. The first time two fighters are that I go for fight each other, and so it was the first time. It was the first time I actually got to be there in person, to witness a fight this big happen. Because usually I'm home, I don't really like going to the fights, but Chon had invited me, so I went. And to me, just the atmosphere, I had, like, for example, Vivoy was in front right here. I had my partner over here. Um, I had the Vargas dynasty over here. Like, we were all just together in the cool group.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Charlo came up and started fighting one of the Vargas guys, like, verbally. Like, it was just the full atmosphere during the fights, like, was just crazy. And that's why I give that fight of the year for me. And in general, fight of the year, I would have given it to Bivol versus Canelo because of the upset that Bivol was able to bring to Canelo. So for me, fight of the year was Chon versus Regis for me, but in general, I believe it was Canelo versus Bivol because I really enjoyed that fight. It was really cool to see Bivol come with the game plan, and Canelo, well, he couldn't adjust his for some reason, but he tried his best and he was pushing every round. He was pushing.
Yeah. Hey, my pick for fight of the year, a lot of people aren't going to pick either because mine was Spence versus Ugas. But I don't think I had so much. I just enjoyed watching that fight because Ugas, a lot of people just remember it as Spence beating the shit out of Ugas. But the first half of that fight was extremely competitive, and Ugas even rocked him a little bit. But like when Spence ended up breaking his eye socket in like the seventh round, like Ugas kept fighting for like 3 or 4 rounds and was still hitting Spence during that. And I don't know, shit like that means a lot to me when I see somebody fight through something like that and still try to win. But I don't think I had enjoyed a fight as much as that one. But not just fights, but a lot of fighters really impressed and showed out this year. Do you have like would you pick any one fighter to win fighter of the year?
Fighter of the year. This year was very weird because most fighters didn't. I can't think of anyone who fought 3 times as an A-list fighter. I can't think of anyone. So for that, I do want to give my opinion is Inoue, and the reason for that is because this guy has been. If you look at his track record, it almost seems like that Pacquiao from 2000. What was it? That 2004 to 2010 Pacquiao, where he was just kind of steamrolling through everyone.
Yeah.
I kind of see that in him, and pound for pound, to be able to do that, it's almost impossible. Like no one does that. So that's why I'm giving him Fighter of the Year, in my opinion.
Yeah.
For you, what would you pick?
I would pick Bivol, just like you said, because not only to upset Canelo, who at the time was the #1 fighter in the world, but then when he fought Zerto, a lot of people looked at him and Zerto as a 50-50 fight, myself included, because Zerto was big, he was undefeated, and Bivol beat the shit out of him. Like, to beat two very talented guys like that, and like I think out of the 24 rounds he shared with them, I think he won 20.
That's cool. Yeah.
The next one, the hard one for me is knockout, because I think this year there's so many good knockouts this year even in the beginning of the year when Lee Wood knocked out Michael Conlon, or Charlo knocking out Castano, or the British dude Cordina, he knocked out some Japanese dude cold. Caleb Plants was sick. Deontay Wilder fought once this year. He landed 4 punches, but he knocked that dude the fuck out
With the jab.
Yeah, but pretty much it was like a right hand like this but long. But what's your personal knockout of the year?
I actually enjoyed the Wood versus Conlon fight because it was it wasn't an easy fight for both of them. It was kind of like they were both in the trenches, and
Yeah.
Wood kind of just got that final blow on him to close the fight.
Conlon dropped him in the first round too. A lot of people thought the fight was over because like Wood was out bad, and then Conlon was kind of outboxing for a lot of that fight. So if the fight went to the scorecards, Wood was gonna lose. But then he didn't only knock Conlon out, but he knocked him out like completely out cold. Like he stiffened up and then fell out of the ring. It was scary to see, but yeah, that was a really sick knockout.
For sure.
Mine, I got to give it to my boy though, Caleb Plant. I like, you're biased with Sean, I'm biased with Caleb Plant, I think, but that knockout was sick, and everything going into it too, because like Darrell was talking a lot of shit. He was wearing a t-shirt where Plant's head was fucking cut off and at the weigh-in, and then Plant went out there, and then he had, like as a shoe guy, as a sneakerhead, I know it was a different brand, but those shoes were fucking sick, the Freddy Kruegers. And then just the way he set up the knockout, the double left hook, body, and then head, and the fact that it was a 1-punch KO. I don't know. I thought it was sick.
Yeah, it
It
was
was,
cool.
um,
It was cool.
but I don't know. I don't know. There was a lot of knockouts this year that is hard to pick from, but that one was my personal favorite. Do you have like we mentioned, like the Bivol fight and the couple other fights, even the Wood Conlon fight was an upset, but is there a specific fight that was like the upset of the year for you?
I think the upset of the year for everyone has to be Bivol versus Canelo because keep in mind Canelo was in the field for like 8 years,
Yeah,
if
a
not
long
longer.
time.
I can't remember when he lost. I mean, of course, there's controversial fights as well,
Right.
but in the recent fights with the zone, he's been steamrolling, knocking out people, breaking ligaments, arms. He's been like killing guys,
Yeah.
and he moved up, to 175 to take the challenge versus Bivol. And Bivol was like the man of steel. Bivol doesn't get tired. Bivol doesn't feel pain. Like this guy's a machine. He went out there. He embarrassed Canelo in the last 4 rounds. Although Canelo could have taken one from that last four. I mean, if a lot of people gave it 5-7, it could have been 8-4.
I
But
had it 9-3, bro.
I'm just saying, uh, I'm not. I mean, everyone who enjoys boxing could be a Canelo fan, but I'm not a diehard Canelo fan where I'm like I'm biased. No, he lost, and I personally gave him 5 rounds only because I was looking at him, not Bivol. But I bet you if I were to just look at Bivol the fight, Bivol could have taken 9-3. He could have even taken more. Who knows? But because sometimes what I've realized in boxing is the guy you're looking at is the guy that you'll give more rounds to, even if he did less, a little bit less, because you're looking at him.
Yeah, and it's really hard to watch a fight and look at both people at the same time. It's hard to sometimes
It
because
is.
it's so fast.
I've actually I've done judging in the past. I'm actually on BoxRec as a judge,
Really?
and yeah, and it's not that easy. Sometimes some fights are easy, man. Like a guy walks in, beats him up. He beat him up. The whole crowd knows he beat him up, and the guy went down like 5 times. Okay, he
Yeah,
lost. But there's some fights where both guys are pushing, pushing, pushing. Both guys are active, inactive, and active, inactive the same amount of time, and it just feels like it's the same. And at that point, you're kind of like, fuck, do I give it to the favorite or the underdog? And then at that point, it kind of comes down to your person. Do you like the underdog more? Do you like, you know
yeah,
what I mean? So judging is in itself is kind of complicated because it's more of a person's mentality, what they're watching. Uh, when I was judging, sometimes you have distractions left and right. People over here fell and they're fighting. You kind of look away for a bit, whatever. You miss important key things that could have given that guy the round. Like, in conclusion, judging is harder than what it seems like. It's not just like you're sitting there watching, enjoying a fight. You don't even get to
yeah.
enjoy the fight, honestly. You don't enjoy it
Really? Why? Because you're just so like,
because you're focused on who's winning the round, on who's
right.
doing more. You're thinking instead of enjoying. You know, it's different.
Is Do you have like when you do that, is there like a fear in the back of your mind, like, fuck, what if I fuck this up? What if I'm the
No,
what if I'm the one judge that has the bad scorecard? You know what I'm saying?
well, I've never been in a situation, but I could see how uncomfortable that would be.
Yeah, because I
Like, oh
remember,
shit,
yeah, like the one judge where everybody's like, I don't know what that judge was watching, like, like
no,
Adelaide Bird type shit. But that's like the fight this morning. Joshua Franco, Bam Rodriguez's brother. He fought this dude in Japan, Ioka. It was a unification fight, and it was super close. They ended up scoring it a draw, but it's the same thing. It's like there's so much like changes in momentum going back and forth, and then like Franco pressed the action and came forward more, but in the second half of the fight, like Ioka was landing like the more eye-opening shots, like the harder shots, it seemed like. So it was tough to score. Um, but no, I agree with you. I think Bivol versus Canelo, like statistically, might not have, or like odds wise, might not have been the upset of the year. it was definitely like the storyline upset of the year. Personally, I would give it to Hector Garcia, the guy that Tank fights next weekend. Back in February, he fought Chris Colbert, and Colbert was a guy that they were moving along to be a future champion. Like he was getting a lot of hype. They were really promoting him, and Garcia was like a last minute step in, and nobody gave him. He was like a -1, or he's like a -1500 underdog. Like nobody gave him a shot. And then he went out there and won pretty much every single round and dropped him. And then got the title shot from that, won the title, and then now he's fighting Tank. So I think personally that would be my upset of the year, because I didn't even think he was going to win. I thought Colbert was going to like beat the shit out of him, but that was a massive upset to me.
For sure.
And then speaking of 2023, that like we do know he's fighting Tank. That fight signed. Is there a fight that's been announced that you're really looking forward to the most?
From fights that have been announced, of course, the eye catcher is Garcia versus Tank, because of the history they have from the fights they've supposedly signed in the past and were dropped. There's been a lot of history behind both of them.
Fighting in clubs.
Yeah, there's just a lot, and that's cool. But I am looking forward to Canelo's next fight. I want to see if it will be Bivol 2, because I've heard other possible fights and islandings for him, but I really want him to fight Bivol because I want to see what this guy's mindset is. Can he go in there and change it up and actually find a style to beat him in, or is he gonna just repeat what he did again? Like, I just want to see if he can. For example, Cambosis, right? He did the same thing 2 fights in a row, and well, I mean, it seemed like it. I want to see if Canelo can separate himself from the other champions and be like, I'm like a Mayweather. I'm coming in, I'm adjusting some things, and I'm gonna dominate. I want to see if that can happen, and if that is so, then Canelo will really be who people think he is, like a freaking goat in the I mean, and living like a living goat. So
Yeah.
we'll see. And another fight I'm looking forward to that has been talked about, that's supposed to be happening, is Crawford versus Spence. I heard that this is the year it happens. So
Yeah, we hear that. We've been hearing that since like 2019 now.
yeah.
Fucking,
No, dude, I've been hearing this since 2016. Think about it.
really? Before Spence even won his title? Because Spence was like a big name in 2016. That's when he was fighting like Chris Algieri and shit. But
No, yeah, because in 2016, if I remember correctly, it was Crawford versus Pacquiao, right? Which never happened, and Spence was in the come up. It might have been 2017 when I first started hearing the matchup of Spence versus Crawford. But point is, it's been a long time.
too long.
The hype is dead, by the way. I don't think at this point anyone cares for the fight like they used to.
To be honest with you, I'm not that excited about it for a couple of reasons. Because it's like neither one of them hardly fight. What are they going to do afterwards? Not just that, but you got guys like Jaron Ennis and Virgil Ortiz who are young and talented at 147. It's like I'm at the point now. I want to see those two, and like other Rashidi Ellis. I want to see guys like this start to fight each other. I want to see the new wave of talent take over 147, not these old guys.
Yeah, it's because you know what though, Crawford and Spence, they fucked up what they had, man. When it was Pacquiao and Mayweather, when they were the top dogs at 147, they fought all the up and coming new guys. They fought everyone, you know, and they kept all the belts hostage. But they fought, and they fought. Pacquiao was fighting 2 or 3 times. Mayweather fighting 2 or 3. Point is, these guys were fighting the dangerous guys. They weren't avoiding them. And I feel like Crawford and Spence have been absent from fighting once a year, once every 2 years. Like that's insane.
Yeah, Spence just said the other day he doesn't plan on fighting until like May or June. So it's going to be another year until like a year plus between fights for him.
Yeah, and that's why when it was Pacquiao Mayweather, they were doing it because that was their momentum. Like, okay, I fight this time, I fight this time, I'm fighting. Even Canelo, he's been pushing 3, 2, 4, even 4 fights a year. Sometimes he's done.
Yeah.
So like these new guys who aren't new guys anymore have just taken a very kind of like safe approach to this, and I think that's what kind of killed the momentum for that big fight. Because now I personally, and I know a lot of people feel the same, I wouldn't push for that fight anymore. Like whatever.
Yeah, it's really the demand for it's really going down. But back to that, the fight I'm most looking forward to, and I'm happy for both guys for taking it because it's not even for a belt. And it's two, in my opinion, two of the top three guys in the weight class. And they're fighting. They're not fighting for a belt. They both just said, like, fuck it, like, let's get it on. And they hate each other, but it's Plant versus Benavidez. I'm so excited for that fight because those two don't like each other. They're both good as fuck. And like I think whoever wins, we're for sure gonna know who like the number one contender is in that weight class for Canelo, if Canelo even wants to fight them again. But it would answer a lot of questions, and I think it's going to be a good fight stylistically because one likes to box, one likes to come forward and fuck you up. So
And Caleb Plant, he does have power. It's just that his style doesn't lean towards him coming in with power. It's more
yeah,
like more. He's a strong guy. He's an athlete for sure.
his new
Um,
coach though is bringing it out of him, Stephen Edwards, Breadman Edwards.
nice.
So, but and the fights, we kind of talked about a little bit of them. The fights that you most want, a fight you most want to see get made, the one that hasn't been announced yet or anything.
Well, I have a couple, actually more than a couple. For starters, for Bivol, I want to see him in 2 different fights. I know we can't get both, but there is a chance we could get both. First is Bivol versus Canelo 2, of course, or Bivol versus Artur. Brett be
Beterbiev.
something like that.
Yeah.
I would like to see that fight. Of course, then I know a lot of people, even my own friends, my own circle, they tell me that this is crazy. I do want to see Pacquiao versus Spence, and I do believe it's possible. I'll tell you why. Pacquiao and versus Spence would generate money to make it make sense business wise. Pacquiao's 40 something, right? 42, 41, 42.
Yeah. No, I think he's older than that.
He's
Let me see.
43.
Because he's
Yeah,
older
well,
than, or he's a year younger than Floyd.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
point
he's
is,
44.
he's 44.
Yeah.
Oh man. Okay, well, that kind of like I would still like to see him in a cool fight, not an exhibition, but yet again, I saw him fight my whole childhood, so that's why I want to keep seeing him fight, but I gotta let that one go. And then I want to see Loma versus Haney. I heard that they're gonna make that happen. It makes sense, and it's gonna be a good fight. And I'm actually going for Loma on that one. And Fury versus Usyk, that one's gonna be good for an interesting fight. I feel like Fury's just too big to be beaten, but we'll see. And lastly, Munguia versus Triple G.
Yeah, I really want to see that.
Me too. I want to see what Triple G would look like at almost 41 versus Munguia, who's 26. He just turned 26, literally last month. So this guy's fresh 26 versus a guy who's about to be 41. I want to see how Triple G responds to youth coming forward at him at full power. I know Triple G has a jab that even to this day is respectable. Canelo, as you've seen in that fight, could not get past that jab. So I want to see what Munguia can do. And I'm super excited for that fight to happen. I've heard the zone wants to fight. I heard Triple G is interested. It's not something out the table. Munguia really wants it. Munguia's been chasing a belt for the last 3 years at 160, so this is his opportunity, and hopefully he gets that fight. Because in my opinion, if Munguia can get that fight, can knock out Triple G, be the first guy to knock him down and knock him out, that would really show that he's a contender for the big fights. He's a big fight guy. And then hopefully we get Munguia versus Charlo at 160. So
Yeah, or Charlo versus anybody. He hasn't fought in like 900 days. And that's
for
not an
real.
exaggeration. That's not an exaggeration.
And he's holding the belt hostage. Like, come on.
Yeah.
That's fucked up for all the guys. Imagine all the guys coming up who are like top 10, 15 contenders. They're like, dude, I can't even fight for the belt that I've been striving to get. I can't even fight for it because this guy's not holding a hostage. Like, there should be a rule in boxing that if you don't fight within a year, even if it's an injury thing, if you don't fight for a year, you get an intern and the main belt goes out. And with your intern pass, when you come back to fighting, you can try and get that fight again,
Oh, fight for the title.
Yeah, but you shouldn't be able to hold it hostage for 3 years.
Yeah, no.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's bad.
2 years and a half. He's been holding it. Has it hanging in his wall, probably.
Yeah. Well, I don't know I don't know. That guy's crazy. He lives a wild life too. Like, so fight like I would really want to see Munguia versus Triple G.
Yeah.
And if he does knock him out, that raises his stock even more. And the thing about Jaime that people don't realize is like he actually sells a lot. Like he'll fill a stadium. The Mexicans will show up to watch him fight.
Yeah, especially depending on the scenario. Because for example, if he's fighting like in a smaller arena versus an unknown name, no. But if you put him versus any top name worldwide and put him in Vegas, sell out for sure.
Or even Texas. New York, no, because it's too far away. But like LA, Vegas, Texas, yeah, he'll sell it out. Arizona, even. But
I feel like Triple G isn't a Texas type of guy. I feel like he's a MGM Vegas top of the line type of guy.
he'll fight in LA too. I could see him fight in LA. But fight like I really want to see Ennis versus Ortiz. He's already called Ortiz out. He's like, I want to fight the winner of Ortiz Stanionis. And I predict Ortiz to beat Stanionis. But if we can get Boots Ennis versus Virgil Ortiz, I would love that fight. Just like you said, Fury versus Usyk, I'd love that one. I would like to see Charlo and Harrison fight for a third time. Like I really want to see the rubber match of that fight. And then I want to see Frank Martin, Rolly Ramiro, or Isaac Cruz. Any of those three guys to fight each other. Because I think it would be a good fight no matter what. And I think at this point you have to give Rolly big fights because he's just too fucking entertaining, bro. He's too much like he just hogs the limelight because he's so goddamn funny.
He's funny, but at the same time, I feel like he does need to tone it down a little bit because at the end of the day, he's gonna develop too many people against him because he's a cool guy, but a lot of people aren't gonna like him just off the persona he has on the press conference. Yes, it's funny. Yes, it's entertaining, but the average viewer is gonna be like, "Who is this guy?" Like
Yeah.
it's too much. But we'll see. We'll see. I do hope that he gets his big fights. I hope that he does very well. I hope that we bring him on this podcast very soon.
Yeah, me
And
too, bro.
yeah, and I hope that he continues to have success because he only had like a very short amateur career. He probably only had like 10 amateur fights. I don't even know how many amateur fights he had. How many he have? Like
He didn't have a
15?
lot. Yeah, he didn't have a lot at all.
Yeah, so I like guys like that. Those are underdogs. So we'll see.
And I know people who have sparred him and everything. Fucking homeboy hit hard.
He does.
He hits hard, but and then Frank Martin's so fucking good, and then so is Isaac Cruz. Isaac Cruz will come forward, but I think if you get him at Cruz versus Rolly is the better fight for sure. But I think Martin versus either one of those guys is a good fight as well. What prospects, like what young guys are you most looking forward to seeing step forward in 2023?
So young guys, because prospects doesn't necessarily mean young guys. There's guys that, you know, could be in their mid-20s.
Young in their career is what I meant.
Yeah, well, my choice is a young guy. He just turned 18, Emiliano. I feel like he has what it takes. He has the coaching he's had since he was a kid. He's a national champ. He has a huge amateur career. He has two brothers to support him as well that are always in the gym with him. His dad. He has world level sparring. He has amazing management. He has top rank behind him. Um, they he only has one fight with top rank, and they're already promoting him as one of the contenders for knockout of the year, just off one fight with top rank, 2 rounds with top rank, and he's already being pushed for a KO of the year, which I think is crazy. Um, that type of exposure is not normal, and he's just that type of guy. He's extraordinary in the sense that he's coming on a whole different vibe than all these other new guys. He's not a hype job. He is real. Um, he a lot of people want him. He gets offers all the time for anything, and at this point, I don't see any other guy his age with this much following. He had the blue check mark
Mm-hmm.
verification when he was like 16 in the amateurs.
It's insane.
Like this kid is something else. He's known for his boxing since he was a kid, and anyone that I talk to that's seen him sparring always comment like, "Hey man, this kid is like a beast." Everyone. There's no one that's ever told me he's he's a hype job. No, impossible. I see him
Yeah.
in person. He's a beast.
Not
Next
even
level.
on like social media, and social media will fucking talk shit about anybody, but
The truth comes out on social media, but no,
yeah,
no one's gonna call him a hype job, and whoever does has never
hey,
seen him fight.
whoever does is just a hater. Like at that point, like
Now even haters are gonna appreciate it. He's a whole new level. And then I do want to also give a shout out to Johan Alvarez coming out of Mexico. In his first 15 months in boxing, he's probably like 12 or 13-0. Um, and he's coming at a huge work rate, and I feel like anyone who gets 9 to 12 fights within a year is someone who really wants this. It's not someone who's just messing around. So
yeah, he takes the sport very seriously.
yeah, so
When I talked to him from our interview, he takes it very, very seriously, and he works really hard, and he has improved. Like if you look at his first fight compared to now, he's improved quite a bit.
yeah, and I mean he's 18, so
Yeah,
it's another young guy that's going in there.
yeah. Emmy was my pick too because he's just so good. He's so talented. But he's also entertaining. And this year, I can't wait to see him get like the more rounds under his belt, more exposure, because I think by 2024 they'll start throwing him in like title talks. Another guy I wanted a shout out was Trayvon Marshall, the sniper kid out of the DMV, DC, Maryland, Virginia area. And he fights at 154. He's tall, he's long, but he's very like similar to like Boots. The way like he doesn't switch stances like Boots, but the way he throws punches, his offense. The kid's talented. He's fighting on the Tank Davis undercard this upcoming weekend, but he's sharp, dude. He's quick. He's very, very calm, very patient, but he's extremely talented. So I'm really looking forward to seeing where he goes. I hope the PBC starts promoting him a little bit more because he's really good. But Emmy was my overall pick because I really do think by 2024 he'll be ready for a title. Speaking of that, oh, what's up?
I was gonna say his dad at 19 years old was a world champion, so I know Emmy has that in his mind that you know I know. I mean, I've never talked to him about this, but I know that in his mind, he's like, my dad was champion at this year and in this many days, I have to match that. I feel like that's his whole mentality. I don't know. I'm just saying this way. I think it is. And if that's the case, you know, I feel like he's gonna be pushing Top Rank. Like, hey guys, I want more fights. I need more fights. You know, I feel like he's the type of guy who can put in 10 fights a year if given the opportunity,
You
and it's
think
very
so?
rare. I
Yeah.
think if given the opportunity, he would put 10 fights in a year, 10 to 12 in a year, if he had the opportunity. I know there's a lot of politics and this and that go into everything now, but if he was in control, he would fight 12 times a year, 10 to 12 times a year.
Yeah. It's gonna be hard for him to get that title shot though, as of now, because Haney has all the belts, and whenever one fighter has all the belts, title shots, are fewer and far between. But I definitely
And
think,
the division is so stacked
yeah, it's
with
a
so
deep
many
weight class.
fighters.
Yeah,
It's
but I,
probably the hardest division right now.
yeah, I would
Well,
say,
well, the 130, 135, that whole range is crazy right now. There's too many killers, too many champions, too many big names.
yeah,
You
because you got
know,
Haney, Tank, Shakur, Rolly,
Teofimo
Cruz.
Lopez,
Yeah, well, yeah, Frank Martin, Michelle Rivera, fucking Rolly, um,
the guy from Australia, Cambosis,
Kambosos.
he's still there. He's still there.
Yeah.
Um, and those are and all those names that we just put out there are literally superstars in that
Mhm.
division, and they're still the contenders as well. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, and most of them were just from 135.
Yeah,
Keyshawn Davis, that's another one. The
yeah. He was named prospect of the year for
top
is
rank.
he? Yeah, top rank.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, and that guy's a tough guy.
It's an extremely talented weight class. Um, but is there a fighter who doesn't have a belt right now that you think would have one by the end of this upcoming year, 2023?
A fighter this year, 2023.
Like they're
There are
not a
two
champion.
guys.
There are.
Yeah, I have two guys on my mind. Chon, Chon Cepeda, Jose Chon Cepeda. He will be a world champion 2023. I know that his mind is set on it. I know his team's set on it. I know he has the resume for a ticket at the top because there are other belts, it's not just
Mhm.
one. There are other belts. I feel like I feel like Sean is gonna take a world title. I feel like this last fight he had, I'm not defending him, but I feel like the weight cut he made for the fight wasn't 100%. I don't think he came out 100%. So there is a better version of Chon, and I feel like that version of Chon is gonna take a world title. And my second pick is Munguia. Munguia, he was a world champion at a very young age, back in 2019, was it, or 18?
It was one of those because it was pretty early in his career. It was like not that it was he was young. He fought Ali right after Ali fought Cotto.
Yeah, and Cole was still fighting.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, he is a world champ fighter, caliber fighter. He is. He's done it before. He's been chasing the world title 160, but look who has the belts. It's
Yeah.
not that easy to get a belt 160.
I think he gets the Triple G fight though. I really do. And I think he beats Triple G.
I think so too. The only thing about Triple G is his jab. Triple G's jab is next level, and he will go down in history as having probably one of the best jabs of all time. So,
And best chins.
exactly. So if Munguia can get past that jab, knock him down, knock him out, whatever he has to do to win, yes, he won't get the full credit because Triple G's pushing 41 years old, but he will still be known as the only guy who was able to do that to him.
Yeah, but I also think he's smart enough to know to go to the body because Triple G can get hurt to the body. It's
And
been
no
shown
one goes
before.
for the body. Why?
The jab. The jab.
Exactly.
Yeah.
His jab is OP. His
He,
next level.
and also too, like the way he throws his hooks, because he comes over the top and like twists it like this. So like when you go down to go to the body, he'll just fucking corkscrew that shit over your guard, bro. Like
Yeah, it's not that easy.
yeah, but I think Jaime's talented enough and explosive enough to do it. I really do. And his jab is a lot better too. He needs to get more credit for his jab because his jab now is actually very good. Jaime's is.
Exactly. That's true.
Another guy I think uh if he all he needs is a title shot. If Jaron Ennis gets a title shot, he wins a belt. Whether it's against Crawford, Spencer, whoever, he beats them. I really do believe he beats anybody in that weight class. For sure. But
Well, well, yeah, man. I mean, 2023, 2023 is gonna be a good year for boxing because there's so many guys who are now at that level for the world title. So many guys holding world titles who have to let go of those titles or vacant because, like Charlo, you can't just hold a belt and not fight. You know, I mean, I know there's a lot of things, injuries, this and that, whatever, but I feel like just because you got hurt, it shouldn't mean that other guys have to keep waiting around.
right,
Like, I feel like, yes, you're the champion. Here's a here's a uh get get a belt fight pass, and but give me that belt. You know, we'll give it to someone who actually deserves it right now.
right. And there's a lot of talented fighters there too, like the Dominican guy, Adamas. Like
Oh yeah, that guy's an animal.
he should be getting a title shot soon. But I think one thing is 2022 was fun for boxing. It was good. But like we said, like most people only fought like once. There's hardly anybody fought more than once. So I think it frustrated a lot of people. And I think 2023, we're going to see more active fighters. Not everybody, but I think we're going to see more active matchmaking where you're getting more and more top level fights because the first half of this year you saw it almost every weekend there was a really good matchup and then it kind of thinned out a little bit, and I think this next year we're going to see more well-rounded like matchmaking in the sport, bro. But those are our 2022 awards and what we're looking forward to in 2023. Sounds like I'm glad Adams is doing some cool shit. I'm glad I get to be a small part of it, and I'm looking forward to 2023 being a bigger year for Adams and Punchlines together and separate. And thanks for coming on, man. It's been a lot of fun. Do I call you boss? Like, are you my boss technically?
Now we're partners.
Oh,
Uh,
hey, and we do have a huge announcement coming out soon from the people that emailed us the other day for the podcast.
okay.
Yeah, so whenever they get back to us, that's going to be a big thing to announce for this show as well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in general, I'm very excited to have Shane with us on this venture for the podcast community. We do have some cool possible big plans for the podcast, so we'll see if it's 2023. We'll see how it works out, but I'm excited, man. Thank you so much for the hard work you've done for Adams itself, and I mean the work you've put in is tough work. It's not easy work. It's a lot of editing, reaching out, preparing research before. I love the way you do your research before every interview. You know what to ask. You know you know their fights. You know their records. You even know what they were wearing. Like you know everything. And I think that's something very impressive that no other guy in your field is doing. No one really knows as much as you know, and I think that's impressive.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate that. And yeah, some of it might just be the fact that I'm a fucking nerd. Like it's not even just research. I just remember weird shit, but it's I'm glad when people notice it and appreciate it, and it makes the interviews go by. They go long, but they go by quick because I can just talk to people. Like I talked to Tony Harrison about fucking football for like 10 minutes. It was so sick. But yeah, man, it's been fun. I've never had so much fun doing something, and it's just me talking to people. And I look forward to doing even more next year and hopefully more videos too.
Yeah, next year I have a whole roster of guys we're gonna be interviewing. Um, I'm not gonna name any names, but we have a full roster, big names, big industries that have to do with boxing, a lot of UK stuff. And we're gonna figure out how we can start interviewing my guys in Mexico who speak Spanish. We're gonna figure that out as well. Um, maybe like a little system for that. We'll see how we figure it out or how. But I do want to get Mungia on this as well. And yeah, man, thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Anything else we need to put out before we go?
Um, the only thing I could think of now is once we start doing our more like accessory type things, we'll see what punchlines thing we bring out, because I feel like something promoting the podcast show for Adams would be cool, as a cool thing to have. And as for you and me, I'm gonna make like custom stuff for the show, you know,
Hell yeah.
like cool hoodies, things like that. I'll
Hmm.
have some things done as well, but we'll talk and see what we can make as like accessory style, like even if it was stickers, whatever the point is, accessories that we can start giving away. And I do want to really focus next year on our show, giving a bigger emphasis on giving back to the community as well. So starting next year, we won't let not one show go by where we're not giving back to the community in any form, which is either shoes or whatever the point is. We're giving back to their viewers.
Yeah, and I want to get the other sponsors involved with that too, like Feast Mode. I want to start giving out more of their products and stuff too, because they've been kind enough to help the show out, and they support hard too. Every time I tag them in one of the clips or anything, they share it to their story, which
So
is really cool for them. So I want to help them out and start spreading their products out too, because they do make actually pretty good shit. I use it almost every day. I did even before I got the sponsorship. That's why I reached out to them. But yeah. No, I'm excited for that. I'm excited for the new drops of Adams to come in so I can stunt on these hoes at the gym. I'm really excited for the gloves, dude. I had to
me too.
fucking I had to take my dude, the laces on my gloves broke today. When I hit the bag, it just like the laces broke. So I had to like go to my trunk and grab an old pair of shoes and take a lace out of one of my old shoes and put it in this glove. So I'm sitting like, I don't know. I need new gloves bad. And I'm not going to spend a shit ton of money on some other company. You know what I'm saying? If Adams has gloves,
Yeah, of course, man, of course. And I wouldn't say the lace is broke. Maybe they ripped.
like it's snapped, like the lace snapped
That's weird, huh?
is what I'm
That's
saying.
crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. I just hit too fucking hard, bro.
Yeah, too much power.
Um, no, they're just old and shitty. Although I am getting nice with it. My hands are getting nice. So you keep calling me out for sparring, even though you're like bigger than I am and more active, but it's all right. I gotta get ready.
Yeah, man. You get ready for Vegas. Once we do something in Vegas,
Oh yeah.
sparring for sure.
Yeah. I talk a big game, but I feel like I'm gonna get somebody's gonna fuck me up. And I'm like, dude, I don't know if I want to spar anymore. I,
Nah. I'll go easy, man.
I don't mean you, bro. I mean, if you're just like, hey, just move around with Jaime for a little bit, and then next thing you know, I'm like, bro, what happened?
Nah,
Why?
Jaime has heavy hands. Even if he goes easy, he goes hard.
Yeah, bro. Like, why is this IV in my arm? Where the fuck am I?
But yeah,
I don't
man.
know.
Thanks again. Hope you have a great New Year's yourself, and of course we're gonna talk to see what we do next. I do want to get as our first interview for the year, maybe Victor Ortiz this year for sure. Get Victor, and I want to get Victor, and I want to get Amaro Vargas, because I love his energy that he brings to the boxing.
Yeah.
He's so energetic, and I think it'll be cool to have an interview with him.
Yeah, and I don't know. I know guys that went to high school with at least Emmy and Amato, not Junior, but plus I'm from Vegas. I like interviewing Vegas fighters. Plus he is dope. And actually his shoes I thought were sick too.
Oh,
That you did.
the tiger stripes.
It was Tiger? Yeah, that one was dope with the tassels and the turquoise or not turquoise, but like baby blue color and shit. Yeah, those ones were really dope too.
Well, I just asked Victor Ortiz, and he said ASAP, brother. So maybe that's in the coming days we can get Victor in. And I did message Rolly right now to see when if he has time for a podcast. So I'll let you know what he tells me.
Okay. And if you just want to give him my IG, be like, hey, this is our host, he'll talk to you or something. I can message him too. But yeah, that's my Vegas brethren, bro. I gotta interview Rolly.
Yeah, I messaged him. We'll see.
All right. You got anything else for us, dog? Or are we good to go?
That's it for me, man. I'm gonna go continue the day today, and we'll talk later. But overall, like everything I said, that's what happened. I'm excited. It's been a very good year for the brand. I got probably you feel the same as me, where I got like a second win for my goal. I'm this year went so well that I'm just excited for the next year and to keep growing.
Yeah, I'm really, really excited to see where it goes because it's almost like it's still got like the underdog story too, because a lot of people are still like not giving you the recognition that like maybe you deserve. So it's like every win means even so much more right now. But thank you guys for listening and being a part of our 2022 as fans and listeners and just people who love the sport like we do. Can't wait to be back with 2023's first episode. He's been Carlos Adams of Adams, our partner and the #1 boxing boot in the business. Check out our other sponsors, Feast Mode Flavors. Use code PUNCH10, get 10% off. Thank you so much to them. I'm your host, Shane McMurdo. You can follow me on Instagram at Shane_MCM. And please follow the podcast, Punchlines_pod. Don't forget, we're going to be doing giveaways on YouTube. If you like, subscribe, comment on Apple, Spotify for the audio episodes. If you leave a 5-star review there, we're going to start giving away more boots like we have this year, just on a larger scale. So can't wait for you guys to be a part of that. Until next year, thank you for joining us. We'll see you then.